Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
What's good, y'all? It's your man Hezo, and welcome back to the Blacktop, where I always got an ace, you feel me? So let me start off by saying my apologies for not being able to get a recap out for the Knicks game. Now, there really wasn't much to recap about that game because we got blown out. But if you did not see my post, it was me and my fiance's 6-year anniversary together, so that is why I did not drop a video. And real quick before I dive into today's video, I will be gone this whole weekend for All-Star Weekend. Now, that's not why I'm going to be gone. I do have some last wedding stuff to finish up north, so I will not be gone, I will be gone this entire weekend, so I probably won't be dropping a video until like Tuesday. I won't be back till like Monday afternoon, probably even maybe later than that. I'm gonna be driving pretty much all day Monday, so y'all won't see any content from me until about probably Monday or Tuesday, so y'all be on the lookout. So I want to talk about Trey Young, and no, this is not a video that's campaigning for the Hawks to trade Trey Young. I've never been on board with that. I probably never will be on board with that. So before some of y'all Hawks fans jump down my throat, or if you're looking for that in this video, go ahead and click off because you just ain't gonna hear from me. Now, if you're new around here and you do enjoy this type of basketball content, please consider hitting that subscribe button down low. It helps me grow my channel out. It helps me out a ton. Drop a like on the video and let's get right into it. Now, let me just start off by saying I am a Trae supporter. I've been a Trae supporter since we drafted him. Trae is my dude. This is all going to be constructive criticism and just really my opinion. And at the end of the day, my opinion doesn't really mean anything, so you take it for what it's worth. I'm a big Trae fan. At the same time, this team, the way it is currently constructed, this Hawks team, if Trae does not change his play style, we are not going to go anywhere ever. Trae is not a superstar player. He's a superstar caliber player. But what we have seen from Trae this year, I keep seeing people saying, oh, Trae's going to get back on track and Trae's going to get back to his old self. This version of Trae that we have seen this year really is Trae. That is the Trae that we are going to get going forward unless he changes his play style. And what I mean by that is a high volume shot taker with low efficiency, a high turnover rate with a bunch of assists. Now, in a small world or in a vacuum, that may, look great and everything, like the way in terms of paper, like his numbers, but it's not a winning style of basketball. And he's never going to be the number one option on a championship team with this exact play style. Now, you can allude that to coaching. You can point the finger and say that he doesn't want to get better. It doesn't matter, whatever direction you want to, you point. But when I look at Trae's game overall, if you really look at from his second year until now, he's really been kind of the same. He's never really actually gotten better after his rookie season. I mean, yes, he made a huge leap from year 1 to year 2, but since year 2, Trae has been kind of just on a straight trajectory. He's not really going up. If you look at his field goal efficiency, if you look at his three-point efficiency, other than his season last year, the Trae that we're seeing this year, around that 42-43%, the 33 to 35% from three, that's the Trae that is Trae. There's no going back to, oh, this is his old self. This is Trae. The Trae that we're seeing now is Trey Young. And it's time to accept that. This Trey Young that we're seeing now is not a championship caliber, number one option, and is not an MVP player. It's just time to accept it. For Trae to really be maximized to his fullest potential, number one, he needs a better coach. Now, I've already advocated for Nate McMillan to be gone. I'm not going to sit here and ramble about Nate McMillan, but it does start with the coaching. Now, you can point fingers whether, you want to blame the coach to why he's not playing well or why he's never really gotten a ton better. But at the end of the day, it's about his willingness to move off ball. Everybody knows he was working with Steph Curry, come on, man. Steph Curry in the offseason, and yet we have yet to see any really off-ball movement from Trae. I've mentioned this in streams, I've mentioned this in recaps, I've mentioned this just in rants. When Trae does not have the ball, he is standing about 25 to 30 feet from the basket, and he's just watching. He's watching the ball move around while he just stands there. Now, you can say what you want. That is not championship basketball. It will never be championship basketball. So until Trae changes his play style to where he doesn't need the ball in his hands at all times, and he can be effective moving off of ball, off of screens, in catch and shoot situations, this team will never be a successful team with Trae as the number one option. The Trae and DeJounte pairing has not worked because neither of them move off ball. Again, you can point at coaching, you can point whatever you want, but either way, the players still have to be willing to adjust and willing to adjust to each other's games and move off ball, move off of screens. The only player that I see that moves off of screens consistently is AJ Griffin and Bogey. Those are the only two guys, and they are shooters. But Trae is not a great three-point shooter because of the shot selection that he takes. Trae is a ball-dominant player that forces, or not even forces, but turns the ball over a lot out of unforced turnovers, takes stupid shots. His decision making is just abysmal sometimes. And again, that is not winning basketball. And we will never be able to win a championship with Trey Young as the best player unless he changes his play style or unless we get a formidable fit next to him like a guy like Jaylen Brown. And again, this is not a shot at DeJounte or anything like that. I like DeJounte, but this is not the team that we really envisioned whenever we brought DeJounte in. And a lot of that is Nate, I get it, but a lot of that is the unwillingness for Trae and DeJounte to move off ball whenever they don't have the ball in their hands, and it has been a disaster. We gave up 3 first-round picks, and we are sitting at a half-game difference at the same exact point last year at the All-Star break. Last year, we were 28-30. We are 29-30 this year with giving up 3 first-round picks for another quote-unquote all-star player. Trae's shooting around 43% this year and around 43% and around 33% from 3 or whatever we want to call it. Now, again, he's averaging 27 and 10. That's great, man. It really is great on paper, but it's not equating to wins, and it's low efficiency with a high turnover. He's a volume shot taker, and it just has not equated to wins. Yes, we had the Eastern Conference Finals run 2 years ago. I get all that, man. That was a Cinderella run. It was just a flash in a pan. It really was an anomaly. And when you look at Trae's game in general, last year, in terms of his performance with being an All-NBA player, it's looking like that's more of an anomaly as well. When you look at how he performed in his first 3 seasons and this season in terms of his efficiency, effective field goal percentage, his overall efficiency, his three-point efficiency, his turnovers, the Trae that we are seeing this season is the Trae that we are going to get going forward. In my opinion, the Trae that we get next year is peak Trae. So if Trae does not make an improvement next year, I don't care who's on the team. I don't care who the coach is. At some point, you have to be willing to change your play style if it's not equating to wins. I get Trae's played like this his entire life, but this is now a different scenario. You have another all-star player. You have formidable guys on this roster that can get the job done. And again, for the 1,000th time, we need a new coach. I understand all that. But the Trey Young that we get next season really is going to be peak Trey Young. Because if we get the same exact Trae that we're getting this year, when we get it next year, that's Trae, man. And it really just is time to accept it. And it's frustrating. It really is, because we know Trae has so much more potential if he's willing to change his play style, stop shooting 30-foot threes, stop making such bad decisions, and play more off ball and move around more like Steph Curry does, who never stops moving. That's how Trae is going to be maximized. And it does start with the coach and the system that is in place and the discipline. Trey Young is not a disciplined player. And we've seen that in the past. We saw it with Lloyd Pierce. We see it with Nate McMillan. He didn't like either of them. And that probably is a big part to why Trae is still the same exact player from year 2. Now, I got his stats pulled up on Basketball Reference. And this is just, again, I wanted to point this out. I already touched on it a little bit earlier, but these are the exact numbers that Trae has been shooting over the course of his entire career, right? So in his rookie season, he shot, this is going to be rounding up to the nearest percent. So in his rookie season, he shot 42% from the field, 32% from 3, right? Pretty similar to what he's doing this season. That's his rookie season. His second season, he shot 44% from the field, 36% from 3. That's a pretty solid jump, right? Third year, 44% from the field, 44% from the field, 34% from 3. So about the same field goal percentage, and jumps down 2% in three-point percentage on around the same attempts. His fourth season, which was last year, which was his All-NBA season, 46% from the field on 38% from 3. And again, that's an anomaly because now we're looking at this season, 43% from the field, 32% from three. Now, why do I point that out? Because last year was an anomaly. He has shot more like year 1, 2, and 3 this season than he shot last season. It's time to stop saying that Trey Young is going to get back to his old self. He's going to get back to what he was. This is who Trey Young is, man. And I can't stress that enough. It's time to accept it, man. Unless Trey changes his play style or unless we get another superstar player, the Atlanta Hawks will never win a championship. And how do you do that? Through the draft. Atlanta's not a high profile city that guys are oozing to come play for, right? It's not LA, it's not Miami, it's not that, that nightlife. Even though Atlanta got a lot of, dope nightlife, it has a dope, kind of scene down in downtown Atlanta, it's not LA, man. It's not Miami. It's not those winning culture cities and everything that that players are just oozing to come play for. So it is harder for Atlanta to get a superstar through a trade. The closest thing that we can get is a guy like a DeJounte Murray, who's an all-star caliber player, who, by the way, made the all-star off an injury replacement. If we do not get a superstar through the draft, we're probably more than likely not going to have a superstar. And Trae is not going to be a number one option on a championship team, man. It's just facts. The way that this team is constructed, it will never be a championship contender unless we make another move in terms of bringing in another superstar caliber player that's not DeJounte Murray to play next to Trey Young. And again, that's not a shot at DeJounte, but these are 2 point guards that need the ball in their hands almost all the time to be most effective. You need another guy that is a completely different play style than Trey to fit next to him. I'm gonna be honest, man. Trey a lot of times looks like he's just checked out and he has no interest in being here and he has no interest really just in playing ball. Like I don't know, man. There's a lot of things I question. I question his leadership. There's a lot of things I question about Trey. But again, I'm not advocating for Atlanta to get rid of him. I'm not going to be on board with that. Trey's my dude. He's my dude at the end of the day. I love Trey. But I'm going to call it for what it is, man. Like, a lot of times, I just really question, does he want to be here? Is all he cares about his stats? Does he legitimately care about winning? I watch his post-game interviews all the time. And he says the same thing almost every single video or every single interview. Yeah, I mean, they made shots. They made shots. They did a good job. We got a lot of good open looks. They just didn't fall tonight. I got to be better, and I will be better. That is the typical Trey Young interview in a nutshell. He says it almost every single interview. Now, I am confident that with another coach, that he can really maximize Trey's potential. Whoever that coach is, I don't know, man. We'll see come off season. I'm not gonna come on here advocating for new coaches and everything. Now, I do want Nate McMillan gone, and I think a new coach in a new system will really maximize Trey. But he has to be willing to buy into a different system to where it's not only focused on him as the primary ball handler, to where he can move off ball more. Because if he doesn't buy into that, we will never go anywhere with him as our best player. And it's just that simple. So I'm pretty much leave it there, man. I don't really want to rant too much more. Again, do not take this video out of context of me slandering Trey. That's not what this video is. This is a video pretty much pointing out the obvious things about Trey that we already know, and really just hoping that maybe at some point in the future, he turns it around and we can really maximize him. It's more so constructive criticism, man. Again, I love Trey. He's my dude. At the end of the day, I have 3 authentic jerseys that I bought of Trey. I'm a huge Trey supporter. I just want him to clean it up, man. That's all I'm asking. Just clean it up. Make better decisions. Stop shooting 30-foot threes. Stop trying to be the hero all the time. Now, there's a lot of things in this video that I probably did not cover that I really wanted to, but again, I don't want to continue to rant and rant and rant. Maybe I'll cover them in another video someday. I don't know, man. This is just, again, this is all my opinion at the end of the day, so y'all take it for what it's worth. Y'all leave your thoughts down in the comments. Where do y'all see Trey's future going forward? Do you think he'll be a lifetime Hawk? All that type of good stuff. Drop a like on the video, and I will catch y'all next episode.